Hello, Ramley and other NFL family. This is another Los Angeles Rams news update video. I'm your Canadian Rams fan, Payo Time, and we got some stuff happening. The season's not far away, but there's plenty to figure out and storylines ahead of the season. In this video, we're going to talk about Omar Speights. We're going to talk about Kyren Williams returning punts, and we are going to talk about the headline of the day. Apparently, Jonah Jackson is going to be center. Let's dive into it. All right, our first story of the day. Rams may shake up O-line, move Jonah Jackson to center and Steve Avila to guard. Now, this was first reported by none other than the queen of Rams media herself, Jordan Rodriguez. On X, she posted, Rams have gotten a long look at Jonah Jackson at center in his return to action. Sean McVay says they're leaning towards Jackson at center and Steve Avila at left guard to try and get the best combo on the field that they can for the opener against the Lions. And reminder, Jonah Jackson was injured, banged up, but he has returned and is expected to play week 1. Jordan goes on to say, and stay with me, guys. I'm going to go through her entire Twitter thread here because she has some really interesting gold nuggets here. I have been asking about this behind the scenes since Houston. Credentialed media cannot report on position changes until addressed on the record. But I think this possible one merits a context thread. Give me a sec. I'm looking forward to it, Jordan. We'll give you all the time you need. Okay, so multiple things are true. Rams have been talking to Jackson about his comfort level at center since he started ramping up to return. So that means this isn't just like an idea that was just thrown, like Sean McVay didn't wake up today and was like, yeah, Jonah Jackson at center. I like that. No, this is something they've been talking about. And even the fact that Jordan had some sort of incline since the Houston Texans preseason game, this is something that's been, a conversation that's been happening behind the scenes. This is in part because they are either depleted or coming right off injuries at left tackle and right tackle because Rob Havenstance. And then we also have A.J. Jackson, who suspended the first 2 games. And Jackson himself, shoulder, they work. So the Rams, it would make sense if this is in response to injuries and, offensive linemen not being available. With Avila all spring on learning center with a healthy line and then begin mixing in other players at center and left guard combos when they got more clarity on other timelines. I previously reported this Limmer center a day or so of Thomas and guard Steve Carell. This has nothing to do with how Steve was doing at center. The way they see it, they have 2 guard and centers right now in case of injuries after horror show of 2022 season. Let's not go back to that. Steve may well still be their center eventually, but they are missing starting left tackle, and not only is Steve a stellar left guard who can help that side, a huge part of the Rams offense, both in the run game and screen game, works best when the left guard can move in space. Watch Steve last year and how well he moves. There's some protection naturally embedded here on the left side in that regard. Not about demoting back to left guard, but guessing best inside combo with the tackles in big time question. No, I totally agree. It's not really ideal to be messing with combos this late, but neither are injuries, and that is the reality right now. And this is not Thursday before opener move. Has been happening just to get more context plus coach on the record in order to report. Not everything is clear at once in this sport. We'll see how it goes. McVay likes Jackson's confidence there so far. Game reps will tell. Steve compared it to me like Madden increasing overall grade versus moving players with high grades only to drop overall for sake of one player position increase. I take his word for it. I don't play. Thank you, Jordan Rodriguez, for that thorough feed with some great information. So from what we've gathered from Jordan Rodriguez reporting, is that the reason why the Rams would be moving their linemen around this close to the season is to address, the suspension of AJ Jackson, who would be our left tackle, but also the various injuries that have happened on the tackle positions for the Rams. Personally, I'm as I process this and I think about this, I think this is a good thing. And it shows that the Rams are a great coaching staff and organization to have this depth that they can have these conversations. Sure, as a fan, you'd like that line solidified and ready to rock and push some defenders around and go score some points on offense. But if you have to evaluate who are your best starting 5 to give you the best chance to beat the Lions week 1, I'm glad they have a little bit of extra time to have those conversations, watch some film, watch some practice. I'm here for it. We definitely don't want another 2022 scenario again. But I will also remind anyone who's watching this, last season, we, not to this degree, but we did see some O-line movement around. There was some confusion about Joseph Noteboom. They traded for Kevin Dotson from the Steelers, which turned out to be a fantastic trade. So I have faith in the Rams coaching staff and the Rams O-line in general, their depth. They have much more depth than they did even a couple of years ago. I'm excited for this. Let's see what happens. Our next story here is Omar Speights. Now, I know in the aftermath of the Ernest Jones trade and the reasons why and was it doing right by the player, and some people upset about the compensation and the timing of it. And I don't want to belittle that, but the reality is it's kind of an old news now, right? The reality is the trade happened, and only time will tell if it was the right move or not. I do want to highlight, though, there has to be some element of truth, and I'm speculating here as a hobby Rams YouTuber, that Omar Speights having a great preseason and a good camp has to kind of at least factor into the front office being okay with trading away Ernest Jones. If we look here at our lad's profile, so Omar Speights, he's 23 years young. He was a one-year starter at LSU, transferred from Oregon State in 2023, started 4 years there, and was first team All Pac-12 in 2022. He has a muscular build without ideal length, played all over the front at LSU, and was used as an overhang player against some formations. Normal alignment in the box. He has above average instincts playing the run, and normally fits inside gaps well. Gets downhill and can beat inside blocks with quickness. Plays with a high motor and can scrape into the alley with a tight path to the ball. Pursues to the whistle and is usually around the ball. Decent tackling skills, especially in line. Wraps and drives through tackles, flashing knee bend and power. Takes solid zone drops and can reroute seam releases. Keeps his head on a swivel and passes off crosses and can find the throwing lane. I like that because we need some turnovers. Finds work in pattern, read zone concept, sees quarterback and threats, and reacts to the delivery key. I'll put the link to that in the description. But my point is, Omar Speights is someone that I'm getting excited about. And I think that based on Sean McVay's comments about him not just making the 53-man roster, but the 48 game day roster, we are going to see a lot of Omar Speights, and I can't wait to cheer him on. Hope he balls out this year, and he can be another, I guess I would say a late round draft pick, but he'd be an undrafted, undrafted free agent that would, no doubt be a great credit to the Rams scouting team. All right, our final story of the day is Kyren Williams. Yes, some people were surprised by this, even though he has returned punts last year. But a lot of people were like, what if Kyren Williams is our starting running back and he's on my fantasy football team? I don't want him to return punts. However, I do think it's important to remember the Rams aren't playing fantasy football. They're playing real football, and they want the players that put them in the best position to win playing those positions. Kyren Williams is no doubt has the skills to be a fantastic punt returner. And I'm going to if we go over here to his press conference here, check out what he says when a reporter asks him about returning punts.
A lot of green grass and have a lot of space, and get good blocks from my jammers up front. To get those punts started. But I'm excited to be able to show another phase of football that I can play.
What sparked this? Was it you wanting the opportunity? Was it a coach's? How did this sort of come about?
I think it was a coach's decision, mostly because I remember at the beginning of camp, Coach McVay came up to me and said, like, make sure you're catching punts. If it comes down to it, I want you being the guy. And so that's what he told me from the beginning of camp. And so that's just my I knew already kind of in a way that there could be a chance that I do this. And then, when the 53 came out and the coaches made the decision that, I was going to be the starter, it wasn't a surprise to me.
There you have it. He has faith in himself, and it sounds like for all of camp, the coaching staff and Coach McVay have had faith in him as well. If you are someone that's concerned about this, I do believe in nuance. I do believe that there is that valid concern of like, why are we having our starting running back returning punts? But let's face it, the Rams special team was really bad last year in the return game. If this is an area where the Rams can improve dramatically, they can go from being a wild card team to being a team competing for the division. Special teams last year and the year before have not been a strong suit of the Rams. And so if putting a player like Kyren Williams in there, though there is a risk of injury, no doubt, and throughout his football there's always a risk of injury. I can kind of see where the Rams coaching staff is coming from. So let's see what happens. It wouldn't shock me if at one point, maybe he starts the year as that. But then as, these young receivers, maybe Jordan Whittington or something, as he gets more comfortable in the Rams weekly game day routines and things like that, maybe there's a change. I'm not sure he's going to be the punt returner all year, but I think as long as he's healthy, Kyren Williams is a fantastic option in the punt return game for the first couple weeks of the season for sure. That's going to do it for me. Thanks so much for watching. If you watched the end of the video, as always, go Rams, horns up, and peace out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Go Rams! Woo!